I recently bought this 2011 Vauxhall Vivaro to convert into a budget camper van. So far I've fully insulated the van and used £317.88 of my £2,000 build budget. And in this episode I'll show you a step-by-step guide to fitting the walls, floor and ceiling. It's another day and Dodo Mat have also supplied me with another roll of the Eco Fleece, which obviously means that I can finish the ceiling and put any other insulation in that I need to do. But as the sun's out, I am going to get the ply painted today, and then once the ply is painted and it's gone, it's dried, and it should only probably take seconds in this weather today, if I carpet all the areas that I need to carpet, then I can get the ply back up on the walls, and then that's that bit done. I can forget about it and then move on to the ceiling or the floor. As far as the paint goes, I'm going to be using this Dulux Simply Refresh one coat. I'm guessing this is probably normally made for touch-ups, but I got it for a steal for only 20 quid from B&Q, so I thought why not? It's white, it's actually pure brilliant white, which makes it even better. So that's what we're going to be using. So that is everything with two coats, and I know you're probably thinking, yes, well, you know, this still has quite a few little bullet holes in it from when the units were screwed to it, but especially this one here, which is going to go on this side of the van, just right there. That's going to be where the kitchen is, so this will be like have some sort of fake tiles on it anyway. That side I'm not too worried about because there'll be pictures up and things just to sort of break it up, but it's going to look good. Right, so before I put the ply lining back up, I need to get some carpet up on these walls. So I'm literally just going to do a strip that goes, it literally is just going to cover this section here, because when the ply goes back on, it only literally comes to about there. So it's just to cover up that little gap in the middle, and obviously this part here as well. I'm not actually putting anything on that, so there might be a bit of a dip there, but I'm hoping, I mean, I know that the bed's going to probably come up to about here anyway, so you probably won't see that anyway, but for the time being, I'm just going to leave it as it is. I haven't forgotten that I still need to do that insulation as well, but I'll do that in a bit. The same applies as to when you're putting up the insulation. You're going to spray the contact area, like that. But you've also got to spray the fabric as well. Normally just let it go a little bit tacky, because you don't want, especially with this stuff, if you get wet glue on it, it goes like all clumpy and horrible. There we go, and that's pretty much all we need to do there, because yes, I know it looks messy because it's all flappy around here, but the wood's going to go on top of that and solve all of our problems. So that section is done. And the same again on this side, except for you got to take your rubber seal off for the door. Now there are many ways to apply this Veltrim. I like to use my fingers because it means it just allows me to like just get a better feel of it. But the one thing that I see a lot of people make the mistake of, and I'm not saying I'm any expert of it, but it is called four-way stretch, which means that so that you don't end up having like creases and things like that, you can actually, it's pretty durable. You can move it this way, that way, and it should shape really nicely around your, like this area here. There could be a crease there if I'm not careful, but I need to stretch it, see, stretch it around and get it in that space there. So then what you do once you've got that all on there nicely, you take a sharp Stanley blade. This isn't that sharp, but and then you just literally find a little hole like this. There we go. And then you just follow the line of the metal. I need to change this Stanley blade. Just make sure that you keep stocked up on Stanley blades, because this Veltrim will blunten your blade after like pretty much a few cuts. Always keep spare blades, because you don't want to get halfway through the job and then have to nip out and get some more blades, do you? Learn from my mistakes, people. Now you want to get this cut as clean as you can, but again, just remember that the rubber for the door will cover up any mistakes you make. Just don't go too far back. Right, now that's the two side parts done. I do want to go from here, not necessarily the top part, because that'll be underneath the roof lining anyway that I'm going to put in. But I'm going to come out to this rubber here and just finish at the bottom like that, and then down this side as well. So this will require a large part of this Veltrim, because I need to do it all in one piece, and then the bit that I cut out in the middle I'll use on the door cards, so it's not going to be wasted. Long story short, I've cut around here quite jaggedly, not in any particular good way or anything. The corners are always very difficult, and I think that's where a lot of people sort of mess them up, and I have as well in the past. You've just got to kind of be just a bit rough with it, and you've got to kind of cut a little strip in the little diagonal, but don't go too far, because else that'll split it. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to really get my fist up in there like that, just really stretch that carpet out. A couple of punches, and it really is quite pliable once you get it stretched out a little bit. So as you can see, now we've got a nice sort of curve right around there without having to have any joins here or anything. Same with this side, curves around quite nicely, ready to come down the wall there. Right, so that is that done. Remember earlier in this video I didn't screw the floor down, and you were like probably thinking, how lazy is Sean not screwing the floor down? And there's a reason for it. In order to tidy everything up and to carpet the wheel arches as well, the floor needs to be lifted up, and then all these little draggly bits can just get tucked under the carpet, trimmed up a little bit just to save a little bit of play. Now doing this wheel arch is going to be a little bit of a weird one, because I've insulated it already. It's not actually very appealing to the eye, so this Veltrim's only going to look as good as what this sort of bumpy insulation is going to be, but you're only going to see it temporarily anyway, because there'll be a bed across here, and on that side there'll be a kitchen unit anyway, so you're not going to see it. So I might just chuck this on and as best as I can and go from there really. I think that looks pretty good considering. There is one crease just here, but I didn't really know what else to do about that, but yeah, not too shabby. Just need to do that side now, then the door cards, fill in the insulation here and on that door. Ta-da! Now how much better does that now look? Right, so I've done the floor, that was pretty easy. Now I've got to get these walls back up. Oh God, don't knock over your drink, Sean, Jesus. So that gives you an idea of what it will look like. Get that screwed back in, get these two sides done, ideal. if in doubt, just keep screwing. Ta-da! I think it's come out alright. And now all there is for me to do is to cover the door cards in carpet. I wasn't going to do this, but then I figured I think it might look a lot better than this plastic that comes with a van. I wouldn't necessarily say this is an essential thing in your van build, but I am putting in a reversing camera, and for some reason I thought that the rear light here was actually a part of the body and not a part of the door, but it's a part of the door, so I now need to work out how I'm going to get the wire which comes from the reversing light down into the front of the van. I'm not wiring this up yet, but you've got to lay your wires before you install your ceiling, so that's the plan. But the only thing I can think of is it'll come in through here, and then it will have to come behind this panel, come down here, and then out through there into this panel here, and then it will need to go up and then into this conduit, which I'm going to take out anyway. So probably going to struggle with this, and I probably should have done it before I carpeted this panel here, but you know, always plan ahead, and I didn't. Okay, so here's the replacement light we're putting in, which has got the camera built into it. And to get this light out, it's actually quite straightforward. There's a little nut here that just needs to be undone, and then the light should pop out, and it's an 8mm socket that you'll need. I did actually break this one getting it out, but not to worry. I'm going to disconnect this wire, but by the looks of it, it looks like the wires for the actual brake light go down through the door and then that way. So that's probably going to be the easier way to go with this. Okay, so then we're going to get the new one fitted and drop that wire down in through there. What I did to get the wire down through this channel here is I got another piece of wire that I just had lying around, taped all the connectors to it and just pulled it through. It's called a mouse essentially, and it took a little bit of wiggling, but I got there in the end. So now what I need to do is feed this wire down through here, down there, out through there into this conduit, through there, out this side and across, and connect it to that. Should be nice and easy, he says. So now I mean that's for audio for some reason, they said not to use that. So I've got this red light now which comes down through the channel here into the reversing light. I didn't film any of that because there's a video that I copied the guy, so I'll just put that in the description. All I'm going to need to do now is run this wire all the way to the front, and that should be it. I mean, as I'm on a roll, I might decide that I want to connect these wires just to make sure it's all working, but we'll see. This conduit needs to come down, so I think the best way to do it is just to rip it off, possibly. Yeah, like that. All of this is going to be, all these wires here that are behind this are going to be tucked up behind the ceiling anyway, so you won't see any of that. Back to this, feeding it underneath the roof lining. And how rock and roll is this? Baby seat. Rock and roll! Right, and now that all of those wires for the reversing camera are now fed to the front, I'm going to start on the ceiling. And the first part that we're going to do is we're going to batten out along here, there, and on the edges as well, just so that we've got something to screw into when the slats go up. You can see that, but we've got a little bit of a bounce in that, and that needs to be nice and solid in there just to stop. We don't want any flex because this needs to be nice and straight. So what we're going to do is I'm going to wedge a little bit more ply behind there and then screw up through, and that should give us a nice straight edge. So a piece like this should take that flex out. So at the moment we've got that much flex, if you can see that, and then put this up behind, and now we've got no flex. I mean, could we do with another bit as well? See, now we're bowing that way, we don't want that. A piece of this 9mm should do it as well. I haven't got any 18mm, so you just kind of got to, this is 6mm, 12 plus 6. Okay, so now we've got this bit plus a bit of the ply that was on the sliding door. Pop those two together. Oh, yes, I think that's it, you know. I think that's it. Then all we need to do is then screw that through all 3 layers of wood and then up into the so now we've got the supports in. You do also need to countersink your screws, because when the slats go up you don't want any screws sort of hanging down that you're going to catch your slats on, so make sure they're nicely countersunk. And then we just repeat that process again, and then we've got to do something a little bit different for the back. There you go, look. Beautifully countersunk. Right, so I've just screwed in this batten on this bit, which is going to support the slats on this side, but that's at an angle and it needs to be pretty much like that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to wedge some of this wood in here like this just to get that straight. And the reason is because this piece of metal along here isn't flat, but this is. So yeah, I think that's about it. And then what I need to do is just cut that off there and we're good to go. Also what I've done as well is I've actually planed this edge here. It doesn't go to a point. The reason why I've done that is because up here where the roof sort of curls like that, just needed to take that sharp edge off so it actually fits a little bit nicer. Now for the cladding for this, for the ceiling, I am using this stuff that I got from B&Q. It's not the best stuff you can get, but it is really light. You get 5 in a pack, and I've ordered 3 packs, and hopefully, well, I'll let you know how many packs I've taken up, but if it only takes 2, I'll send 1 back. But from my memory, I'm pretty sure last time it took at least 3 packs. So I'm going to use 1 as a template, setting it right down through the middle, mark out where the screws are going to go, and then what I'll do is I'll pile them up on top of each other and drill the holes for the screws through each and every one. Then that way I know that they're going to be a nice straight line when it's up there. Once you've got your first one up and it's lined up with your center line, the rest of them should go up pretty easily. Okay, so after about an hour of swearing, this half is done. And it literally just comes down and carries down there. I'm pretty happy with that, it's nice and tight. This one needs to come back down. It's not screwed up on this side anyway, but I need to put the holes in it for the lights, and then we'll do the other side. So far, I've done all that, and I've literally just started my new packs. I've only got 4 slats left that can go up there. So I'm probably gonna need a 4th pack. That's it. The ceiling is completed. That last panel there was a complete nightmare. I think we got there. And I've been doing this completely with the door shut because it's torrential rain outside. So look, that's how bad it is. Ready? Hang on. Yeah. After waiting for what felt like weeks for the rain to stop, I could finally move on to fitting the vinyl floor. I used the old carpet that came out of the van as a template to draw around to give me a guide for where to cut my vinyl. I made sure I left extra material around the template so I could trim the vinyl once it was in the van, to save me from cutting it too short. If you're not fortunate enough to have a carpet that's come out of the van, you can always make templates out of cardboard or paper. Now, one of the best ways that I find to sort of cut this vinyl flooring, and I've done, this is probably the 4th time I've done this, and I never seem to be very good at it, but get a bit of plastic or like a credit card or something that you can get right into the corners with, and then just push it down into the corner as far as you can, and then just score across that line, and then just keep doing that all the way along. Okay, so that's the basic shape of the floor cut out. Now I'm going to glue it down now, and I'm going to use the same spray adhesive that I used when I did the carpeting on the walls and the insulation as well. Now in the past I have used like a sort of paint-on glue that you literally paint on 2 surfaces, stick it together. I've not gone for that this time, one because I've got loads of this spray adhesive left, so I'm going to use that anyway, but the glue made it very difficult to sort of peel it back off if I ever needed to. Not that I'm saying that I want it to come up, but once the furniture's in anyway, it's not going to go anywhere. But so it just needs to sort of just grab down and take these ripples out that I've got at the minute. There it is. There's the floor. I put the trim back on as well. The cuts are, I mean, it's quite difficult when it's like a wiggly line like that, but I'd say it's come out pretty well. There's a few areas where it's not as good as what I've done before, but like I said, once the furniture's in, like those bits won't be seen anyway. So all in all, I'm very happy with that. We now have a ceiling, we now have walls, and we now have a floor. All in all, I'd say I'm very happy with the progress of the van so far, considering I've just been doing this on whenever I've got any spare time. But next time on this van build series, we will be setting all the electrics up. So we're talking leisure battery, split charge relay, we're going to wire up the lights, we're going to put some electrical sockets in, and there'll be a few other jobs that I'll need to get done as well, like putting curtains up and things. So far out of the build, this is how much of the budget we have used, and this is how much we've got left. So all in all, we're moving in the right direction. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers! Thank you to everyone who supported the channel through buying me a beer through the link in the description, and thank you to all of my Patreons.